Hello and Happy New Year. Welcome back to our Apple Teacher series. Just a reminder that this is a pre-recorded session that you can access at any time, and you can pause, stop, rewind, whatever you would like to do to help you get through that Apple Teacher badge. So welcome to our Numbers for iPad session. It's lovely to see people back for the final two in the series, and I hope you're making good progress on your badges. There's no rush to get them completed, but I do have some nifty stickers up for grabs when you get all 6 badges. I am still Ruth Burnett, primary teacher at Bishopton Primary, Apple Distinguished Educator, and one of the facilitators here at the Apple Regional Training Centre in Renfrewshire. And if you're not sure what we're about, please drop me a message at any time and I can fill you in, or join our RTC area on Teams. Laura is one of the other facilitators at the RTC, and she'll be joining us for some of the sessions. This is an overview of the different areas we'll be looking at today, and this is how the module in the Learning Centre is broken down too. The next 2 apps we will look at during Apple Teacher, Numbers and GarageBand, are often the apps that people are least familiar with. With Numbers, you can make beautiful spreadsheets that include impressive looking tables and images. You can even add diagrams and illustrations to enhance your charts and data on iPad. So let's have a look. The wonder of Numbers is that it is a flexible canvas for organising and explaining data. You can add in colourful charts, tables, photos and video to create lab reports, budgets, project plans, reports and much, much more. So let's have a look at how we get started. Now in Numbers, everything starts with a table for organising different kinds of information into rows and columns. So I'm going to click the plus button here, and we're just going to start with a blank template to begin. Although, as you can see, there are a variety of templates designed for specific purposes too. So I'll just go into this one. And you'll see that we have our rows going along the way and our columns up and down the way as well. To enter data into one of the cells, all I'm going to do is tap on the cell. And I can enter my text here. So for example, let's go for one about favourite foods. And then I can return down into the next cell and start typing in some bits. And to get my keyboard to go away, I just pop the keyboard button at the bottom right-hand corner, and that will give me my screen back. Now, say for example, I wanted to enter some numbers. So let's go into this cell here. And my keyboard pops up, but it's only got my text on it. So I just need to click the little button up at the top of the keyboard that has numbers on it, and it will change it to a numeric keyboard. And again, I can click that button at the bottom corner to get the keyboard to go away. And I can change back into my text keyboard that way as well. Now, as I said earlier, it's a flexible canvas. So I might want to make my table smaller so that I can move it around on my sheet. So the way that I would do that, as you can see down at the bottom of my rows, there's like 2 little lines inside a circle. I can hold on that and I can drag it up to make my table smaller. And I can do the same with my columns as well, with my vertical little lines. And that can adjust the size of my table. I can also make it bigger. So perhaps I want to add more data to my set and currently there's not enough room. I can drag it down and I can make it wider as well. So perhaps I want to move my table to a different location on my canvas because I want to add on different things, perhaps a chart somewhere else, maybe some images, videos, whatever. When you tap into your table, there's a little circle in the top left-hand corner. I can just grab that and then move it to a different location. Nice and easy. Now you can use this for a variety of things, just a nice simple table. It could be for your weekly calendar. It could be a way of logging student observations as well, where you could have different tabs for different classes so that you can keep track of things as well. It's just a nice organized way of storing data. Now we know how to put information into a table. Perhaps we want to change the format of it to present the data in a more appropriate or creative way. Formatting and styling will make your spreadsheet more engaging and easier to understand. So I'm just going to go into an example one here. So here I have the spreadsheet that I was setting up earlier, where I have types of food down the left-hand side. I have the votes that the children have done in the second column about which is their favourite food. And perhaps I want to enter some information on how much these things cost at the supermarket. So I've got in my first column, I've got the things, which would be text. And we've got the second column, which is numbers. And in my third column, I'm going to want to have currency. So just now, let's just pop in a price. So I'm going to change it to that numeric keyboard. Let's say it's 250. And then I'll pop in some other random information. I don't know how much tacos are. Now, just now it's just reading as a decimal, which is fine, but I want to have it represented as currency. So it makes more sense for the people reading this table. So now I want to change everything in that column so that it is currency, so that it has the pound sign and it actually is much more useful for the person reading this chart. So I'm going to click the letter at the top of the column, and you'll see it selects everything within the column. And then I'm going to click my formatting button, which we now all know from all our other Apple Teacher sessions is the little paintbrush. I select that, and then I've got a whole bunch of other things that I can play around with and adapt and amend for that column. But I'm going to go into format. And you'll see I have a whole range of different formats that I can change those cells to. And for this one, I'm going to go for currency. And you'll see it automatically changes all of the numbers in those cells to have a pound sign before them. And if you click on the little I for more information, it'll give you more things that you can amend. So how many things after the decimal point you would like, whether you wanted to round it up or not. It just gives you more opportunity to further personalize your data so that it makes sense. Let's just leave it at that for just now. So what I want to do now is I want to alphabetize the data in column A. And the way that I do that is I tap the A at the top of the column, and you'll see I get this little pop-up menu, and I'm going to click column actions and go for sort ascending. And you'll see it not only sorts column A ascending, it moves the corresponding data so that it goes with it as well. So the class favorite votes and the price will move with it as you organize that data. Now, another way to do that, so I'm just going to undo it just now, is I selected my column there, and in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see there's like a little lightning bolt. I can click on that and it gives me the same options again. So just two different ways of accessing that menu. Now, again, being able to format your data and organize your data is really useful, particularly if you're doing enterprise topics, including budgets, but you can also use this type of log for a variety of things as well. Now that we've got some data, we can start to think about using formulas to process this information. Using the spreadsheet to perform simple calculations to process, interpret, and draw conclusions from the data. So I've just made a little example here, which is a school dinner survey where we're asking the kids how many times a week they have school dinners. So let's just plug in some information here. Switch into my numeric keyboard. Now, what we want to do is we want to get the spreadsheet to total up those numbers. So you'll see I've made a little cell up at the top for total responses. I'm going to tap into there where I'm going to build my formula. And what I can do is I just go in there. I'm going to click the little two lines at the top right-hand side corner of my keyboard. And that brings up my formula building area. And the formula I'm going to use is sum, and it's quite a straightforward one. All it does is it adds up all the contents of a selection of cells that you tell it. I'm just going to type in sum, and you'll see it brings up a whole massive range of different formulas, but we're just going to stick with that one for just now. And you'll see there inside the little blue thing, it tells you what the value is, and that's basically the range of cells that I want it to add up. So I'm just going to select the cells that I want it to add up and then click return. And you'll see I've got quite a big class of 59 children. Oh my goodness, I must be busy. And what it's doing there is it's not actually adding up the numbers. It's not doing the sum of 6 add 3 add 9. It is adding up whatever is in that cell. So it's using the cell reference rather than the actual number within it. So if I change any of those numbers, that total will change too. So perhaps I have a kid who's wandered in late and they want to be part of the data collection too. And I'll say, how many times do you have school dinners a week? And they say 3. And I can just change that number. Make that 10. And you'll see now my total responses has gone up. And there's another way that you can access all that formula building as well. So perhaps I want the total to just go straight underneath in the cell underneath. I'm just going to drag over my cells, and down at the bottom right hand corner, I have my little lightning bolt. And it gives you a quick formulas section down at the bottom as well. So these are the ones you would use most often, probably in a primary classroom anyway. And I'm going to go for sum. And you'll see it's just added it up, and straight underneath it is giving me the total of 60. And it will just automatically populate the cell underneath. And you'll see that matches up with my total responses as well. I just like the way it looks with that at the top. Now, I am currently covering data handling in primary 5 and primary 6, and we'll be introducing some basic formulas to demonstrate to the pupils how easy it is to record, process, and display information. One way you could do this is to track physical activity, recording distance and time and calculating averages, which brings data tracking and analysis into PE. Next up, we have functions, and this is perhaps not something you would look at in any detail with your class at primary level. However, as we're all aware, data has become a big part of our job, and being able to analyse data can come in handy at times. Let's have a brief look at how we do that in numbers. Now, there are hundreds of mathematical functions that allow you to perform complex calculations and manipulate data, from counting the occurrences of certain items, working out the average based on particular conditions, and logic statements. So let's say we want to look at our data set on the school dinner survey and work out what the largest value is within our data set. So first of all, we're going to pop it in here. This is where we want our function to do the work. So we tap on the cell. And now our keyboard's popped up. We're going to click the little 2 lines in the circle at the top right-hand corner of our keyboard. And let's have a little look at our functions browser. So we do that with the little F and the X button. And it shows you all the different categories of functions that you have. And the one that we're going to be looking at is statistical. And we're going to go down to max, and you'll see there's absolutely tons in there. And you can click the little I button and it'll kind of explain it to you as well. So the max function will return the largest numeric value in a set of numbers. We'll go back, happy with that. And you'll see again, we've got that little blue section that says value. And this is where we're going to put in the range of cells that we want it to look at. So I start here. Oh, done it again, tapped it twice. And I'm going to drag down. And you'll see that that's the range of cells that I want it to look at. And I want it to find the biggest value, the maximum value within that range of cells. And I click my little tick. And it returns back that the biggest value in that data set is 18. And I can check, correct. Now, if you are going to use functions, it's definitely worthwhile using that little info button to see more information about it and how it can be used. So I'll just go in here to show you again how to find that. So we click the 2 little lines in the circle, go into our functions browser. Let's go back down to statistical, go for average, and we can click the I, and it basically gives you a little bit more information about it. So if you are new to using data analysis tools within spreadsheets, it kind of just sets your mind at ease because it explains what it is you're going to be doing with the data set and gives you some examples as well, which is quite handy. Now, you can use functions for a variety of things, but some examples could be finding the upper and lower range of a scores using max and min, or using the function COUNTIF, which counts the number of cells that have the same values within it. But I'm not going to go into too much detail on how to do that just now. Now, let's have a look at the fun bit. The bit that your kids will love testing out with their own data sets, visualizing data with charts. A good chart can turn complex data into something beautiful that will make the information much easier to understand. So let's have a look at another data set I've created. This is breakfast by numbers. So a range of children were asked about what they ate for breakfast that day, and we gathered their responses. Now, I say children, but they probably shouldn't be drinking coffee. Let's go for a mixture of children and school staff were asked this question. And I have my responses here. And again, I used a formula to add up the totals and put it in that total responses cell there as well. So now I want to select my data and make a chart. So I'm going to tap the top cell, drag over, make sure I have all the information that I want to include within my chart. And then I'm going to click my chart button, and you'll see it just along the top, and it looks like a little pie chart. And you'll see I can swipe to the right, and it gives me different types of, and up and down, and it shows me the different types of charts that are available. Get some nifty little 3D ones as well. And there's also little interactive ones, but let's just stick with a nice straightforward bar chart to start off with. So here I have my chart. And perhaps I want to edit the references. So perhaps I accidentally missed out some data, or perhaps more data has come to light. So there's a different option that enough children have had that I want to build that into my chart as well. So I can tap on it and click Edit References. And you can see that if I added more data, I could just drag that down and it would be able to select more data to add into my chart. I'm just going to leave it as it is for now. But I do want to kind of play around with how it looks a little bit because I'm not massively happy with it. So I'm going to tap on my chart. And you know where the format button is now. We can just click format. And within here, I can go to style. I can change the colors that I've chosen for this. Let's go for that. I can have bigger gaps between my columns, change the width of my columns. And I can also make it bigger just by dragging on the little blue handles, which means I'm going to be more likely to be able to read those labels there. Let's see what other things we can amend within our chart. So if I go to style, you'll see I can change the colors, but I can also modify the labels as well. So I can change the font, the size, and I can also label my axis, which is something we always tell our kids to do. So let's pop that in. And then I can tap on that axis label and type in what I want it to represent. But as we know, all good charts need a title. So again, we click our formatting button, we go to chart, and we need to turn our title on. Again, we can modify the font within that if we want to. And we have to tap on it. Now, obviously, I've just done a bar chart, but you can see from the choices that we had, you can use the same data to create a variety of different types of charts. And then you could have the discussion about which one's better for representing the information and why. So you can use this for data visualization and data handling as well. And the kids really love it, especially if they have had that opportunity to gather the data themselves in the first place. Now, having a chart within a spreadsheet can elevate how your data is displayed. And this can be enhanced even further with the addition of shapes and other media. You can use these to represent complex processes, build a timeline of events, or show a summary of the results from your data set. So let's have a look at how we would do that. Perhaps I want to add in some nice shapes to represent the different types of food that we have here. So I can go up to my shapes browser, which we'll all be familiar with by now. And let's see if we can find us something for cereal. Beautiful. Drag that over here. And again, I can format it and change the color if I like. And let's go for some toast as well. And if I wanted, I could add in the number within that as well, just to give it another dimension. And it's just another way of representing the data that we have in our data set and just making it a little bit more exciting. Now I can do the same things with my shapes that we have done in Keynote and we have done in Pages as well. I can move, I can resize them, I can format them in the style using the formatting button, giving them shadows, giving them borders, changing the color, the opacity, all that sort of thing as well. And I can also add text boxes if I want to. So you can remember how you do that, going into shapes, and it's the very first one. I can add in a text box. But let's just see how I have enhanced that pretty straightforward chart and table about breakfasts. So you'll see this time I've gone for representing the information with a donut chart, and I've just changed the colors. I have added in a little title in the center, and I have added in some more information as well. And I've got some nice little graphics at the side, and I've also added in a little video as well of breakfast that I can play. Again, it just takes it from that basic table and chart and just displays the information in a really engaging way. Now, colourful drawings and handwritten text can also be added using our good old markup tools. We can sketch, highlight, or even annotate charts. So let's have a look at how we can add our hand drawing. And now you're familiar with the buttons, I'm sure you can guess how we'll go about that. So let's go to this example I've created here. Now here we have favourite pizza toppings. So what I've done here is I've created a pie chart that's showing the share of the different pizza topping favourites within this data set. But what I actually want to do is I want to make that look a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to go into edit, and I'm sure you'll guess what button I'm going to use now. I'm going to go down to drawing. And you'll see, hooray, it's our markup tools again, nice and straightforward. Now you can use your Apple Pencil or stylus if you have one, or the finger works too. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a little pizza. And I can draw over the top of my chart so I can make sure that my data is correct and the shares are correct and representative. But I can then roughly represent the type of pizzas within it. So what I'll do, I'll go for my 12%, which is up here. Just colour it in to start off with. I can add some tomato sauce. This is not going to be a beautiful work of art, I must say. And then we'll add on some cheese. And then over in pepperoni pizza. Let's just colour that in. I get our base in just now. You'd obviously do a much better job than this, so the kids certainly would. My tomato sauce. And we'll draw some pepperoni on as well. All right, I'm getting a little bit too into this just now. And you could also add in your data tags in a slightly different way if you wanted to. And our markup tools work in the exact same way as they do in all the other apps as well. So we can use our eraser, we have our object and our pixel eraser, we can move, we can resize using the blue handles. And again, it just allows us to add an extra element of personalization to the kids' work as well when using numbers. But we can also use our drawing tools to emphasize details on our data report or add in annotated feedback if we wanted to. And that brings us nicely to adding media. We can also record audio and video directly into our spreadsheets to work alongside our tables and chart. This can provide a greater sense of depth with the addition of audio and video explanations. Now, I won't spend too much time on this as the process is so similar to what we've seen before in Pages and Keynote. You can record directly into numbers, or you can add in videos and media that you've already created in your camera roll. So let's have a quick look. I'm just going to go back to this one. You'll see this on the right-hand side is just a little animated video that I found online, and I have just added that. But perhaps what we want to have is we want to have the children explaining the data that they have gathered as well. So I go up to my Add Media button, and we've got our camera. That's my desk. And we can flip it round and we can have the children explaining the data as they go as well. So explaining what they have found, how they found it, and the conclusions that they have made about their data set from it. Once you've recorded the video, they can preview it, they can retake it or use the video that they have created. And they can use the blue handles to resize or reposition the video, but we can also add in audio as well. Perhaps they're not wanting to add in a video this time, we do it in the same way. So we're just going to record audio. Now you can see it's recording my voice. I can stop it. I can preview it and I can edit it as well. So I can take out little bits and I can insert it, or I can just cancel if I want to discard it. Now, if I'm wanting to add in some audio like I'm doing here, we can edit it, so we can trim it if we want to. And we can just click insert. And you'll see I get my little play button as well, my playback button. Now, when I click on that and I click format, you'll see that I have some playback options. And this just allows you to adjust the volume of that clip and also whether you want it to play on a loop or not. I'm just going to delete it for now by holding down and delete. Now, this edition really uplevels your standard data handling topic or table and chart creation, giving your learners the opportunity to add in their own explanation videos to show what they have learned and explain their mathematical thinking and analysis. On to one of the last things I would like to show you, using multiple sheets. Now, adding multiple sheets or tabs to organise the information allows you to split projects up into different sheets, for example, for an enterprise topic, and it keeps everything in one place. A summary sheet to begin with, and then the data kept on other sheets behind it. So let's have a look at how we do that. So you'll see in this one, along the top, there's two little tabs. There's one that says sheet 1 and then sheet with chart. So the example that I was using to start off with was the front page, and then I had another one behind it with similar data on it too. So to add a new sheet, we just click the plus button, new sheet, and you'll see it adds another blank sheet with a nice blank table to start off with as well. And I can double tap on it to rename it. So I'll just call it blank sheet to start off with. And within that, I can add all the same stuff as well. I can add tables, I can chart shapes, whatever I like. Maybe I want to copy something and annotate a copy of it rather than the original. So I tap on the name of the sheet and duplicate. And you'll see it makes a copy there. So if I wanted to make any changes, but without affecting the original or make any annotations, I can do it on that copy. And then I can also change the order of them just by holding down and dragging them around a bit. And perhaps I want to get rid of that one. Just hold it down again, give it a quick tap and delete. And we'll do the same with my blank sheet as well. Delete. Using sheets within one numbers document is really useful because you can use it for documenting each stage of a design project with a tab for each part. And as a teacher, you could have a new sheet for each level or subject for collecting your tracking data, observations and interventions and having it all in one place. Now, to finish, we'll just briefly touch on collaborations, but as in our previous sessions, this can't be done on our managed devices at the moment, but it may come up in your badge quiz. So collaboration allows you to invite others to edit and contribute in real time or to view only, depending on how the owner sets it up. And you would do that using our share button. And the share button, you would need iCloud access for that, which we do not. And you can then collaborate with and send it to specific people, and you can set who can access it and who can edit it. But you can also change that as well. So if you don't want somebody to be able to edit something at a certain point, you can switch that off. I think more often than not, when people think about the Numbers app, they think about making spreadsheets, making charts, and that's pretty much it. But I've seen some really clever examples of people using it in different ways. This is the example that I mentioned earlier that I wanted to show you. So for this one, what we have is it's the letters of the alphabet workbook, and there's a number of sheets lined along the top, each one of them for different letters of the alphabet. And you'll see at the top, they've got a little sound embedded inside. I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear that. And then it asks the learner to fill in a variety of things using their drawing tools to draw pictures of things that begin with the letter A. Add a photo, and you'll see there's a little placeholder symbol, so they can just tap on that and take photo. And then along the bottom here, there's lots of little audio recordings of the different words that start with the letter A. I'm not sure you'll be able to hear that, but it did say apple. There's a little handwriting bit over on the right-hand side there for them to practice their letter formation. And it does the same for each of the letters as it goes along. I just thought it was quite a nice example for you to see numbers used in a way that is different from your standard sort of charts, graphs, and spreadsheets. Two more to show you. This here, where each sheet is a different digital maths tool. So we've got a hundreds chart, American money. Obviously, we'd need to change that for us. Different shapes, number lines. Again, just another tool that you can use those multiple sheets for within numbers. And the final one is just a way where you could structure your projects with different sheets for different things. So this is researching a particular country, and each of the sheets is a different stage within the project. So I think it's just quite interesting to see how numbers can be used in a variety of creative ways as well. You don't just need to focus on creating tables and charts. There's so much more to it than that, which I was quite surprised by as well, and it was really nice to see. So that is everything I wanted to show you for today in Numbers. It's a great wee app with lots of potential uses in the classroom outside of data entry and making charts. Thank you so much for coming back to the 5th Apple Teacher session, and I look forward to seeing you for the next one and the final one where we look at GarageBand. We have 4 new courses up on CPD Manager for over the next few months, and they are in person. Hooray! And finally, there's a QR code up on your screen for our feedback survey for today. Thank you for your time tonight, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.